All right, Tristan, we are going to rock and roll. This is define your value today. And I taught this last quarter, and it's a really fun one for me. When I was a new agent, I went through something similar. And then as I grew my team, we kind of changed our value proposition. And so I'm going to start with that caveat is that your value proposition, as it is when you first start in real estate and you define your value, it's okay to change that, right? It's like a living document. It's a living motto for you. And as you grow as an agent, you have liberties to change that to fit the new skill set you have, your comfortability, things like this. Okay. So Shane is here. Hello, Shane. Welcome to Define Your Value today. All right. And as I was saying, your value proposition, that is one caveat, that what you come up with today and continue to work on as your career grows and your skill sets, you embellish those, you have more experience, it's okay to allow your value proposition to grow with you. And so we're going to end the day with a rough draft, if you will, of your value proposition. And I'd love to have the follow-up with you guys to see what it looks like at the end of these 3 months and how that maybe has changed. So what we're going to cover today is defining the meaning of a value proposition. We're going to explain the benefits of creating a personalized value proposition. And we're going to describe what buyers and sellers value the most in their real estate experience. So we're going to put on our buyer and seller hat to discuss some things that will tie into what our value proposition to make it powerful and really speak to our buyer and seller population based on their needs. So we're going to start thinking about what we're going to learn today. If you have any questions or comments, jot them down, raise your hand. Shane, I don't see your camera on either, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Tristan may be popping in the chat. And so if he does, I'll read those questions out loud. All right, so we're going to start today by learning about value proposition, discussing the benefits of defining it. And you're going to be on your first page. If you both have the handout, you're going to be on page 1, today's agenda. We're going to talk about what a value proposition is actually on page 2. Okay, so knowing what skills and strengths you bring to the table, that's going to give you confidence in running and growing your business. It's important to know how to express your value when you're interacting with your clients and potential clients. We're going to talk more about what a value proposition is. Our number 1, it's a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of what it's like to be working with you. It also addresses the specific and special needs of the buyer and sellers in your market. The key thing there is, yes, they're different for buyers and sellers. We're going to talk about that, and there's going to be some similarities, but there are also some differences. So it's key for you guys to understand that piece. And when it says sellers in your market, buyers and sellers in your market, every market in the United States and internationally is a little bit different. And so we're going to talk about that importance, and also stating what you're going to do for your client to earn your commission. And number 4, it holds you accountable to high standards, right? We want to have high standards for our clients. So one of our beliefs in the Y4C2Ts, and you should all be familiar with that. I brought a little prop here. So again, our Y4C2Ts, you guys should all have a copy of that. And one of them is commitment, and that is commitment in all things. And your value proposition is ultimately a promise to fulfill your client's needs. Okay, so let's talk about some examples of how your value proposition can align with the Y4C2Ts. And again, if you're not familiar with it, we're talking about the win-win or no deal, integrity, doing the right thing, customers always come first, commitment in all things, communication, seeking first to understand, which means that we're doing what? When we seek to understand, we are doing what? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Okay, we're asking questions, right? So good communication, seeking first to understand is by asking questions. Creativity is ideas before results. Teamwork, together everybody achieves more. Trust, which starts with honesty. Equity is opportunities for all. And success results through others. Okay. Welcome, Lauda. All right, so when we think about our Y4C2Ts, how can some of those align with your value proposition? You guys have some ideas on that? What in the Y4C2T stands out to you that you think might be part of a value proposition when you're trying to market yourself to your buyers and sellers? And if you're not able to talk, you can actually write it in the chat and I'll read it for everybody. Going once, going twice. Okay, so here's some possible things that you can tie in with that. A win-win or no deal, right? Because everybody's looking to close on a transaction, close the deal. So you want to ensure that all who are involved in each real estate transaction has the best possible outcome, including yourself and the cooperative broker that you are working with on the other side of the deal. When it comes to customers always first, prioritize your understanding of your client's needs, because buying a home or selling a home is one of the biggest transactions they're ever going to do, right? And then equity opportunities for all. It's advocating for everyone, including underserved populations. Okay. So you're going to want to think about the Y4C2Ts and how that may impact your value proposition. Which one stands out to you, and maybe tie that into your statement. So we're going to read, this is from the MREA. We're going to read this quote. Top agents can easily explain what services they will provide to anyone who hires them. Okay, that's the goal. At the end of this class, we want to be able to tell our potential buyers and sellers why they want to hire us, what our services are going to do for them. Okay, and why do you think it's important to define your value proposition?
You're better able to let your clients know what to expect from you. And I guess that will determine whether they want to work with you or not. So, but as long as you know what you're bringing to the table or what you're going to do, what you're able to do. I think it's kind of hard to talk about yourself sometimes though. So
oh, Lauda, that is such a good point. It's easier to ask the questions and listen. And when we're talking about, what we bring to the table, yes, it can be a humbling experience, right? And it's also important to, people are looking to you to be that professional. So when you are, although it's okay to toot your own horn, if you will, when you're thinking about your value proposition, because it could be a make or break, that something that is in your proposition that stands out to your clients. So this is a time where it's good to toot your own horn. I love that you brought that up. Thank you for sharing. We're going to switch over to page 4 now. And I apologize because I haven't been following along with the slideshow. So let me get going on that. All right, that's what we're covering today. We talked about that. Again, top agents can easily explain what services they'll provide to anyone who hires them. That's out of your MREA. So the benefits of having a value proposition. Number 1, this is on page 4 of your handout. Okay. It's going to benefit in 3 different ways. The first one is helping your clients understand your value and your expertise, because not everyone knows why they should hire an agent for the real estate needs, let alone hire you specifically when there are a number to choose from. So sharing your value proposition with your potential clients provides them the opportunity to see how working with you can make their real estate experience better. Number two, it protects your commission. We all want to get paid at the end of a deal, correct? That is the goal. We're in this for work, business, finance, wealth. We want to help others achieve their dreams while making money. So we want to protect our commission. And your value proposition helps you stand out from the competition, and it helps your clients understand what they're paying for. Okay, so like I said, this is your opportunity to shine. Number three, it's going to build strong and trusting relationships. So your value proposition is a lot of times the first tagline, or before people meet you, they're going to read your tagline, what this says about you. So it's your promise to your client. And by keeping your word when you're working for your client, you earn their trust. So clients who trust you are more likely to hire you, and they're also more likely to use you again and refer you. And that's a key thing right there. Throughout the transaction, you have opportunity to follow through with your value proposition and being the agent you said you were going to be for them through the transaction. When you're learning how to define your value proposition, it may be helpful for us to look at some examples from well-known companies. So there's a few up here on the board. And Lauda, I know that your microphone is working. Do you want to read a couple of those for us?
Yeah, sure. So value proposition examples, Airbnb. Airbnb exists to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere, providing healthy travel that is local, authentic, diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. Walmart. Everyday low prices for a broad range of goods that are always in stock in convenient geographic locations. Slack. Slack makes it downright pleasant to work together. I've never heard of Slack.
Yeah, Slack is an actual, we use it on the leadership team here at the brokerage. It's a way for us to communicate with Keller Williams International. So it's kind of like a chat, if you will, where everybody can share information. It's like a community chat. Okay. And then I'll go on with, does anybody else have their, I know that Tristan can't. Shane, are you able to read the other three? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and read those two. Grammarly is great writing simplified, and I can't read it all because it's being blocked. So there we go. Compose bold, clear, mistake-free writing with Grammarly's AI-powered writing assistant. Now, on Grammarly, I'm just going to bring out there that ChatGPT is also in that AI space, and their app for it is pretty powerful. So I don't know what their tagline is, so it'd be interesting to look at that. QuickBooks, send invoices in minutes and get paid 2 days faster. And State Farm, here to help life go right. That's a pretty good one. Everybody likes life to go right. So what makes these value propositions successful for these companies?
They pretty much, well, like the wording that they use, for example, Airbnb, you want to be able to go anywhere and be able to have a place to call your own while you're there. You want to be in certain neighborhoods, and it has all these promises or, you know, kind of letting you know that you could do that. That's possible. They'll make that possible for you if you go and get an Airbnb. Walmart, you're going to Walmart thinking you're going to get great things for 99 cents. You know, like there's Walmarts everywhere except in Southeast Portland now, apparently. Yeah, I want to get paid 2 times faster. Like it's a lot of catching promises.
Now, Lorda, what market center are you with?
I am with Sunset Corridor.
Okay, cool. Congratulations. We haven't met yet, so it's nice to meet you.
Likewise.
That's very, very good. So they're concise and to the point. I mean, these are big companies. Airbnb, Walmart is huge, right? And they're able to take what they do and put it into one sentence that hits a lot of keywords I mean, State Farm, short and sweet, here to help life go right. That is what they want to do, because when life goes wrong, they're there to step in and fix it, right? To help life go right. So we can have powerful value propositions in a small paragraph or just, 6 or 7 words. So those are some great examples. We're going to go ahead and move on to page 5. And so far in Ignite, you guys, we've discussed the value that's enhanced by being part of Keller Williams and what it means to serve as a fiduciary for your clients, and the importance of being a market expert, especially in today's shifting market, right? It's not like it was in the last 6 months, last year, last 2 years. Staying on top of the market is super important. So we're going to connect what we've learned so far in Ignite to your value proposition. So think about it for a moment. How does your value proposition, being part of Keller Williams, how does that bolster your value proposition? Do you have any ideas on that? So being an agent with Keller Williams means you have access to Command. Command is obviously allowing you to streamline your entire real estate transaction, providing a seamless experience for your clients from start to finish. How does your value proposition relate to serving as a fiduciary for your clients? Any thought on that?
Well, I should let them know that I'm there for them and them only. Sorry, I was thinking just how awesome. I really enjoy Keller Williams, and just how much they've embraced. Well, I know that I personally feel embraced by the people there and helped, and like I can go and get into any kind of transaction because I have help and a group of people and knowledge, and it's all at my fingertips, honestly.
I love that. And then, how does your being a market expert, being the economist of choice, and all of the things that we provide you to be on top of the market, have your finger on the pulse of your local market, how do you think that helps your value proposition?
It makes you the expert to that person. They come to you with questions about, so what's going on in the market? Is it a good time to sell? Is it a good time to buy? What do you think? I mean, there's so much that can happen just off knowing even small details, neighborhoods and whatnot.
Exactly. When you've got your finger on the pulse of the market, the knowledge that you're able to share with your clients is so useful. Rather than getting their information from the news or from YouTube or the national news, a lot of people are right now, you can actually tell them that's nationally, and here's what's happening right now in your market. And like you said, Lauda, this is what's happening in your neighborhood specifically. So I love that. Whatever you learn is going to help in guiding your clients to make the best decisions, right? And that's what part of being a fiduciary is that we are knowledgeable on everything real estate, hyper local in our market, so that we can provide our buyers and sellers with that high level expertise. They get to make the decisions, but we get to help guide them with the information so they can make the best decisions for themselves. So taking time to understand the market of today, you don't need to be the expert in everything, but you do need to be a resource for your clients too. So I want you to keep that in mind. None of us, we're in real estate, we're not in the world of finance. And so partnering with good lenders in your area, building those relationships, that is going to help you. One thing that also can make you that economist of choice, I recommend with a lot of newer agents, is when you partner and you build that relationship with your lender, doing videos with your lender where you're actually asking questions, and say, hi, John Smith with ABC Bank. I would love for you to share some information about first-time home buying. What programs do you currently have? You let them be the expert. You're just the connecting person. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool, cool. All right. So what other knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs do you possess that may help you stand out as an agent? I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about that and share some answers. Are any of you bilingual?
I am. I speak Spanish.
So do you think that that is a value proposition?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I'm able to explain to people. Yeah, I mean, sorry.
No, that's okay. But
I'm like
definitely,
tongue twisted.
yeah.
But yes, I'm able, I guess I could have more a broad range of clientele. And ultimately, I mean, I came, you know, I want to be a real estate agent so that I can help people get in these stages of their lives where like they're building wealth and that they're gonna have something to pass on and whatnot, but also as being Latina, being able to help people who might think that they're not able to buy homes. And you know, that's a big thing. Like my parents were finally able to buy a house after renting for so long, and now they're fixing it up. And you know, we've discussed you know, once they're older, them moving into the house that's on the property and me live. I mean, it's just so many, it allows for so many great changes in people's lives. And
Yes, having a heart to help others invest in real estate and create their wealth. I love that, Lauda. And you bet you part of your value proposition, you want to have that you're bilingual on there because you can reach a portion of the population that not everybody can. My career was in Phoenix, Arizona. I started in 2013. We had a high Hispanic population there. And I know a little bit of Spanish, and I was able to, I had Spanish lenders that were bilingual, but I was able to help that population. And it's about building trust as well. You know, when you can speak the language, there's trust there too, right? You can understand. And so even though I did work with some Hispanic buyers and sellers, I did rely on some of my team to help with that, right? So even if you aren't bilingual, it's not a negative thing. Build a team around you. And with anything, you know, if you have a heart to help a certain demographic or be an expert for people who are getting divorced or senior community, whatever it might be, if you have a skill set or background with a certain demographic, that could potentially be part of your value proposition. Or if you just have a heart for it, you don't have the experience yet, build a team around you, research those that do, because again, they're your resource. Have any of you maybe worked in sales before?
I've worked since the age of 15. I've been in restaurants.
Okay.
I've worked in preschool that was nonprofit, and it was for a very like diverse range of people. So
great.
yeah, I'm a people helper. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that having the diversity, knowing to work with different demographic, like you said, customer service, and working with the preschool and a nonprofit like that, there's patients involved in that too, right? So there's a lot of things you can draw from. So I want you guys to think about your background, what you did before real estate, what skills you can pull into. Maybe you've had a family member or close friend who's been in real estate. You have a connection there. If you have a degree in financing, accounting, business, anything like that, project management background, maybe you come from a lender or title background, think about those things and how they're going to potentially connect into your value proposition. So let's look at some possible ways you can charge up your value proposition with what we've already learned about. So with the KW Market Center value, you have access to the collective knowledge and experience of over 200,000 agents worldwide. Right. So if you guys aren't connected yet on social to the Keller Williams family and all the Facebook pages, it's so fantastic. Yes, you have your local market center, you have our network, and then there's, regional with Northwest and also national. And you can go into those Facebook social media, you can go into the Facebook pages and search something. And you'll come up with a list of agents from around the country who have experience with whatever your question is. So definitely a lot of knowledge and experience to gain from. And as a fiduciary, I can point you to reputable resources for service providers such as handyman, window washers, tax associates, financial advisors. You want to be that resource for them so that when they think of anything that has to do with their home, their wealth, they're going to come to you. So that's where, again, building that team of allied partners around you is super important as the new agent. The agents in your market center locally, feel free to reach out to them. Some of your more seasoned agents, find out who they work with, who do they recommend as a handyman. If you know people personally, fantastic, but it's also great to use the agents in your market center for that resource locally. And that's the thing I love about Keller Williams. There's no gatekeeping, people share. They want your success. As far as being a market expert, we've talked about that too. You're going to be able to help your clients price their home to sell because you're tuned into the market of the moment. All right. You're going to get very, very good at the CMAs. And I'm excited for you guys to dive into that when you're working with listings. So what ahas do you have as far as, has anything resonated with you about the importance of having a value proposition? And any ahas of what you think you might be able to put into yours?
Definitely to make a list of the things that you add to to the experience. Like you said, just as small as me having worked in restaurants and having that diverse group of people in the Head Start, lots of patients, like kind of figuring the wording, like all that, trying to mush it up and use all those ingredients and make something yummy.
Yeah. I love that. It's like a little recipe.
Yeah.
Great. So as we get into it, you're going to have opportunity to write down some of those ingredients and we're going to work on that. So an important aspect of designing your value proposition is really understanding what matters most to your buyers and sellers. So you think you may know what matters most to buyers and sellers, but we have some information we're going to go over where we've actually gathered the information, we have the data on it, and we're going to share that with you today so that you know how to best position yourself when you're communicating with them. Because knowing what's important, if I know that Lauda is lactose intolerant and I talk to her about this wonderful cheese factory or this ice creamery or something like that, she's not going to pay attention. That doesn't matter to her, right? And that's a really weird example, but I'm just trying to say,
I like it.
It's like you don't want to provide information if it's not important to them. So we've got some research here that we're going to talk about. So you want to be on page 6 of your handout. And we're going to look at, what buyers and sellers want out of their real estate experience. It's not complex, but it does require you to know the purpose of real estate. Okay. And the purpose of real estate is different for buyers than it is for sellers. In the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, that's your red book by Gary Keller, For buyers, their goal is to find just the right home at the best price in the right time with the least number of problems. All right. And that's on page 94, where he talks about what is important to buyers. And he also explains on page 94 that for sellers, their goal is to net the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least number of problems. Okay. What's the key factor there for both of them?
The right price, least amount of problems.
Least amount of problems, right? I love that. Everybody, same for the agents, right? Everybody involved in the transaction, it's a blessing when you have the least amount of problems. So that is an important feature for both buyers and sellers. So what happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand the purpose of real estate for buyers and sellers?
They start to feel like they can't trust you.
Mhm.
You weren't the right agent. They could have avoided a lot of things. I mean, it's like a whole path of dreading.
Yeah, they maybe, all of that, what you just said, Lauda, that's like a poor experience, right? We want them to have an amazing experience when they work with us. And if we are not understanding what their goals are clearly, and again, this is a generalization for buyers and sellers. Your job as their agent and their fiduciary is to have those conversations, ask those questions to get very, very clear. And when you're asking those questions, we don't want to snorkel on top, we deep dive. Tell me more about that. Why is it important for you to move to Arizona? Oh, your grandkids are there. Fantastic. And, it's creating rapport with them, but it's digging deeper. Don't just take yes or no answers or go down your checklist. When you find out why your buyers and sellers are doing what they're doing, there's huge opportunity for you to build a relationship and really get to know them. And that's going to help you as you're going through a transaction. Once they decide to work with you, you're going through a transaction, you come back to their big why, and you have the information that you can pull into conversation when you need to. Because again, we're talking generalization. It's your job to be that fiduciary and dig deeper with them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good, good. All right, so we're going to talk about the phrase that Lauda said, with the least number of problems. It's important for both buyers and sellers. And, sometimes when we're dealing with real estate transactions, problems are going to come up, whether it's with financing, the inspection. There's a lot of opportunity for things to be an opportunity and challenge for you to work through with them. And it's your due diligence that is either going to help prevent or minimize, right? But we're not going to say you're never going to have challenges with transactions, but knowing how to handle it at a high level and minimize it is super important. As a real estate agent, what are some possible challenges that you can anticipate for your clients? And how do you think you can prevent or minimize them? Go ahead, Lauda.
Eek. Maybe the buyers, like, okay, I'm just gonna use an example.
Sure.
My buyers were like nitpicking a lot of things of this house that they really, 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 really wanted, but it was just really small things. And when we did the inspection, there were a couple bigger things, so I had to kind of paint the bigger picture for them. What is most important here? Instead of having to go this like back and forth, we really ask for what it is that we need.
Mhm.
To
Yeah, looking at things, if I can rephrase for you, looking at them through a lens of success, keeping in mind, because you asked all the right questions, what's important to them. Yes, things are going to pop up, but it sounds like you were able to navigate and pivot and say, yes, and these are the things that were most important to you, and that's here. So let's think about that. Let's look at the bigger picture and get you to your goal.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that. So yeah, that's you were saying all those things. I just said it a little bit differently, right? But that's what happened. So I love that example. And sometimes, yeah, maybe in today's market too, houses are on the market a little bit longer, right? So it's having that conversation, knowing what the market is doing so you can have the conversation with your buyers and sellers upfront about what to expect, right? Setting expectations is going to help you avoid some of those problems, or at least minimize it. And if you have solutions, this is not rocket science, selling real estate, buying and selling real estate. There's a lot of experienced agents. So until you have the experience of going through multiple purchases and sales with your clients, go to the trainings, go to the masterminds, talk to other agents, ask questions, shadow them, do the open houses. The more you're out there doing it, the more comfortable you're going to be, and the more confident you're going to be able to pivot when something does jump out at you. You want to understand the mindset of your buyers and sellers. So communicating often with them as you're going through a transaction, communication is key for most people. And spending enough time with your clients, that's that rapport in the conversation. The more time you spend with them, you don't want to send your buyers off. Oh yeah, there's 3 open houses this weekend. Go see those. Let me know if there's any you like and want to write an offer on. Do you think that's being a fiduciary for your clients? It's really not. It's like your job is to show them those homes, maybe even before the open houses. If they're a good fit for them, go show them before the open house. And when you're walking through a home with your buyers, you get to hear what they say, what they like, what they don't like. That gives you powerful information to know exactly what they're looking for. And because you might not get all the information up front. So as you start walking through homes, and don't just let them walk in the door and tour themselves. Walk through the home with them. So that way you can have those conversations. Okay. You want to handle or closely oversee the contract to close process. So all of you are in PC coaching, and that's fantastic because you have Erin and Mara and Jen helping you through your first few transactions. And you need to know, it doesn't mean you can't leverage that out in the future as you get busier, but we feel it's really important at Keller Williams for you to get started on the right foot, and knowing your contracts, knowing how to write addendums, counter offers, all of that is super important for you. So at the beginning, you're going to closely oversee that and do that, and then you'll have opportunity in the future to leverage that out. You also want to anticipate challenges and take preventative action to avoid them. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that, and looking for creative solutions. Again, it's not rocket science. A lot of the same things happen over and over and over. You're able to have that conversation with your buyers and sellers. You don't want to scare them. It's educating them. We're going to go through the inspection process, and guess what? It's the inspector's job to find everything about that house. It's like looking under the hood of the car, right? And so they're going to come out with a big report with lots of things. We want to make sure that the house, your heating system, the roof, there's no major expense repairs needed, but you're going to get a laundry list of a honey-do list, basically, things that might need to be done. So it's just having those conversations to prepare them. Because when you don't have that conversation and you go through an inspection with maybe a first-time buyer, somebody who hasn't bought in like 20 years, and they get that inspection report with all the things, it could be a little overwhelming, right? So that just helps you circumvent that conversation. Can you think of some other ways that you might be able to foresee some challenges and how you can address that ahead of time?
I'm thinking cold feet, but I don't know. I mean, I go to scripts, but still, it's like still the lingo and the conversations are still very new to me. So like,
Sure.
Having someone say like, maybe this wasn't a good idea. Am I able to pull out of this contract? Like ultimately you want to do what your client, you want to help them through it, but like how would we not talk them out of, but kind of encourage them to keep going in the process?
Yeah, that's a great comment. That's a great question. And I think a lot of that will be the conversations that you have with your buyers and sellers at the beginning of the transaction. when you're finding out what is important to them, why they want to move, why they want to buy, what's important to their family. Find out all of those things, and also understanding where the market is now so that you're having realistic conversations with them. It's not pie in the sky. It's not all doom and gloom, having the appropriate conversations with them at the beginning. And if there's a circumstance where they're like for instance, this one, a seller's having second thoughts about selling their home. So to prevent or minimize challenge, you might do the CMA again and remind the sellers of their motivation to move, remind them about the destination, discuss the risks of starting over, oh, I want to take my home off the market and wait 6 months. What does that look like? So again, going back to your scripts, talking with other seasoned agents that you can role play with, that's going to help you through some of those. And practice really does matter. You don't want to, before you make all your calls, right? You want to practice that. You want to be in a good mood, have good energy, practice that, get on the phone and knock it out of the park. You don't want to be on the phone when your energy is low, when you're having certain thoughts in your head. You want to clear your mind and be present, bring energy, bring value. So same thing when you're working with your buyers and sellers, you want to be sensitive to their needs and listen to them. And when you're bringing it back to their why, if you've done a good job at your buyer consultation or your listing appointment, you're going to be able, it'll be easier for you to have those conversations to move them in the direction they really want to go. And now, sometimes life happens, right? And sometimes there might be a medical emergency or something tragic that happens, and it really isn't the right time for them to buy or sell. Again, you as the fiduciary need to look at that and say, yeah, under the circumstances, I can totally see that. And you want to be honest with them, right? You don't want to have commission breath and push your client to a path that doesn't align with what they really want. Okay. Now, are we persuasive when we sell? Yes. And it's, again, with our client's best interest at heart. So if you aren't having in-depth conversations with your clients at the beginning of the transaction, it makes saving it more difficult. Do you see where I'm coming from on that, and why your consultations are super important at the beginning?
Yes, it ultimately allows you to set a timeline from the get-go, and just plan ahead by asking the right questions and holding on that information, like having a good grasp on what it is that they either want as a seller or what they're looking for as a buyer.
Right. All right, so we're going to talk about the top 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition. Okay, and they are the needs analysis, the pre-qualification or the pre-approval process. And if you don't know the difference between the two, you want to talk to your lender. A pre-qualification is just not worth anything. The paper it's written on, you really want that pre-approval. You want to know neighborhood information, home search options, making an offer, negotiating to buy, vendor coordination, pre-closing preparation, closing and post-closing. So those are the top 10 service areas of a value proposition. And again, this is from the MREA book. I'm quickly going to share the services that agents provide to buyers. We're going to cover these in more detail in upcoming sessions of Ignite. So those are the top 10. And we want to look at the seller side as well. Needs analysis, pricing strategy, property preparation, what your marketing strategy is. When offers come in, you're receiving them, then you're negotiating the offer, you're actually selling it, and then your pre-close prep, your closing, and your post-closing. Okay, those are the opportunities for service areas with our sellers. Now, get your pens out because we're going to talk about what buyers want most from their agent. Okay, again, we're talking about our value proposition. So it's important to pay attention to what our buyers and sellers want to help us navigate that value proposition for them. So this is on page 7 of your handout. And over the next 4 slides, we're going to look at data. This is from 2021. We don't have updated numbers yet. So from 2021 report from NAR, or the National Association of Realtors. on what matters most to the buyers and sellers. So we're going to look at buyers first. This is what they want most from their realtor. It covers the top responses and categories, and it categorizes everything else as other. Okay, so other you'll see is a 24%. The number one thing is helping them find the right home to purchase. Okay, you as the agent, yes, you're sending them homes to look at. Yes, they're online looking all the time and they're going to send them to you. Is this available? Is that available? They're not on MLS, so they're going to send you homes that are already pending potentially, right? It's really your job to know enough about what they're looking for to find them the right home. That's what they're hiring you for, 52%. That's over half, okay? And then you're going to help the buyer negotiate the terms of the sale. And that importance is 13%. Help with the price negotiations. Okay, so negotiating that sale is 11%, and other is 24%. And that could have to do with like potentially, your inspection, paperwork, financing, helping them connect with the lender, helping to find renters, insurance, that type of thing. Or if they're buying an investment property, helping them to find a renter for that. Okay. Keep in mind, these are all results from buyers being asked to state the one thing that's most important to them. So most buyers are going to need help with paperwork or learning about their neighborhood. Yet when you're asked to give them just one answer, that's what they said. It's help finding the right home to purchase. So you want to think about the skills or services that you offer that align with what buyers want most. And you're going to write that down in your participant guide. Okay, so I want you guys to take a moment and write down some of the skills or services that you offer that align with what buyers want most from their agent. Okay. Do you have anything to share? Lauda, what'd you come up with?
I'm still thinking. I'm like,
That's okay. That's okay. Think about it. We're going to move on to the factors that buyers value when choosing an agent. And the number one thing is the agent is honest and trustworthy. That's 20%. The agent experience is 19%, and the reputation of the agent is 17%. 44% is the other category. Okay. And that could be a number of things, that the agent is a friend or family member, that the agent has knowledge of a certain neighborhood, they're an expert there, that they have a caring personality and they're a good listener, they're timely with responses. And the agent seems 100% accessible because of how they use technology. We've got the command system, we have the mobile app. So with today's digital world, they think that we're always responding, we're always available. Active in local community, maybe you do a lot of volunteer and they see that and that's important to them. Your association with a particular firm, such as Keller Williams, who is the largest in the nation, and professional designations that the agent might have, like they are a senior rep or military designation. So those are some of the things that the buyers value. Now, if you resonate with any of those factors, you might want to consider including that in your value proposition. We're going to practice taking these attributes and putting them into a client-centered language. So hopefully you get some ideas for when you're crafting your own value proposition. So we're going to select one of the factors that buyers value and rephrase it into language that explains the value to the buyer. So an agent is honest and trustworthy. Okay, it could be that you can depend on me to help you make the best decisions, or I will work to serve your best interest. Okay, so those are some examples of how the agent is honest and trustworthy will come across in your value proposition. Any comments on that? Any ideas? Okay. So we're going to move on then to what sellers want most from their agent. And helping to price the home competitively is number one at 21%, followed very closely by help the seller market the home to potential buyers. Okay, so we've got price it competitively and market it. Those are the top two. And helping to sell the home within a specific time frame, and helping the seller find ways to fix up the home so that it will sell for more. 27% of that is other category. And some of those things are helping to find a buyer for a home, help with negotiating and dealing with buyers, help with paperwork, inspections, preparing for settlement, help sellers see homes available to purchase, and help create and post videos to provide a tour of the home for online. Okay. And the factors that they consider when choosing an agent, the number one is the reputation of the agent, that the agent is honest and trustworthy. Maybe the agent's a friend or family member. And again, our other category is going to be the agent's knowledge of the neighborhood, that they have a caring personality, good listener, the agent's commission. Okay, because again, as a listing agent, you set the commission for the sale. Otherwise, some of those are similar to the buyer's side. And your agent's association with a particular firm, again, Keller Williams is the number one, so you're at a good place. And also from a seller standpoint, that the agent seems accessible and 100% of the time. Again, we're talking about how we leverage technology for them. And so that's important to them, that our communication, our ability with technology is right there. We're going to take a look at the top response from what sellers consider when choosing an agent, a reputation of agent. If you're a new agent, you may wonder if you'll be at a disadvantage because you're still in the early stages of building that reputation as a real estate expert. So we encourage you to lean on the powerhouse reputation of Keller Williams as you're getting started in your career. And for example, you can tell potential clients that Keller Williams has the strongest reputation in our market for helping people with the real estate needs in the fastest time frame and with the least number of problems. Bingo. Does anything stand out to you with that sentence right there? Helping people with their real estate needs in the fastest time frame and with the least number of problems. Go ahead, Laura.
I was gonna say, as this is my first transaction, my first client, it was, I took them out to lunch after inspection, and the husband was like, "So Laura, how long have you been doing this?" And his wife was like, "She just got her license." And he looked at her like, "What the heck? That is a newbie." But it was funny, but she's like, "I got Laura because she's sweet, she's nice, and I know she's gonna tell us the truth." And it was because we've hung out before, right? But I also let him know that I had an amazing team behind me, and if I wasn't able to give them that answer, I could call someone right then and there, and I could get them that answer. And so they trusted me, and we were able to get, we're about to close on the house that they wanted, that we negotiated for. And I mean,
that is so wonderful.
It's been an awesome experience, but I need to also, it's my first, and it's not going to be this easy all the time. So
I know some people have like their first transaction is like, oh my God, they're like, all the things went wrong, right? It sounds like with you, all the things went right. And so yes, real estate, you've got great transactions, some more challenging ones. I love that your first one went so well, and I love how you handled that. And you did rely on your Keller Williams family and the team and let them know that, yeah, because it's not closed yet, right? And so throughout any time of the transaction, you have a number of experts to lean on. And that's important. You know, there's a lot of small brokerages that don't have that to carry with. So you're definitely ahead of the game with that. And that's where the brand, you know, who you're with matters. And I love that you were able to create rapport with, it sounds like the wife or the gal, and her husband's response. You handled it just perfectly. So thank you for sharing that. So the other thing that I wanted to point out about that statement too, because you used how strong of a reputation Keller has and you've got people to lean on. The other thing is, you know, selling in the fastest time frame and with the least number of problems. And those are two of the main things that were important for both the buyers and sellers. So language like that, take note, because that might be something you want to put in your own words and have in your value proposition. Okay, we're going to move to page 9 in your handout. And we are going to talk about KW technology and how that ties into your value proposition. Okay, Keller Williams is really committed to adding to your value proposition in the realm of technology. They have invested in technology and to propel your business forward. And with the recent updates to Command, it's incredible. And they've built in, you know, it's not third-party software. Gary Keller, when Command came out a few years ago, there were a few glitches and it wasn't quite as robust. And Gary, being who he is at the helm of our company, said, hey, look, we realized that technology, there's some hiccups along the way, and they took ownership of that, and he invested money and the people, and we own our technology. So your client's information will never be sold. Which is a really good thing. And they've built in the platform to allow our technology to grow. So you're going to continue to see some updates from Command as we move forward. So being a Keller Williams agent means that the essentials, you have the essentials to start building your brand and nurturing relationships as a Keller Williams agent. Here's a few of the features that Command provides for you and your clients. So for you, they have the SMART plans. That's able to track your contacts and leads with customized intelligence and build deeper, more meaningful relationships with your entire sphere. There's also the KW app, the mobile app. It's an end-to-end consumer app using the power of AI, machine learning, and your expertise to communicate, provide transaction transparency, remind clients of your value well after they've closed on a home. And the agent sites allow you to, it allows contacts to save searches for homes, and it allows agents to create custom searches on behalf of their clients and what they're interested in. So I also want to point out with Command, we do have Command Your Business every first and third Wednesday of the month at 11 o'clock on Zoom. So I'm sure you're all aware of it and have potentially attended at least one or two of those. So I continue and encourage you, if you can, to pop on those. Sometimes there aren't a lot of people and it gives you that one-on-one or a small group to really learn how to utilize and leverage Command for your business. So how do you think you're going to incorporate technology and what Keller Williams offers you in your value proposition? Any ideas of verbiage you might use?
Something along the lines of just kind of hold on, I suck at this on the spot. How you mentioned earlier that we have the combined ability to the knowledge of 200,000 agents worldwide. Like we basically have so many possibilities at our fingertips, but I don't know how to say that. You're so much better at marketing.
I've been doing it a little longer. So, and you know, you have that access. And one of the things is you can meet your clients where they are and with no matter where they are, you know, mobily, you can connect with them. And yes, when you're working, say your couple that you're closing a home on right now, say she has a sister who lives in New Mexico and she's going to be buying. If you provided her a great transaction, she's going to call you to reach out. You let your clients know that you have realtors at a high level throughout the entire nation, US and internationally. So you are their resource for any family or friend who might be looking to buy, sell, or invest in the whole world, right? um, with your innovative technology, you meet them where they are. They can handle most of your transactions through your phone or laptop. It's all about convenience, right? Every once in a while, you might find a client, typically some of the elderly population who they might not be comfortable still. I dealt with a wide variety of clients in Arizona. Hold on one second. Yes. I don't think so. I have one in my car. Okay, it's in my car. Sorry. All right, where were we there? I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought for a moment.
We were talking about having
Connections with agents, right?
yes, from all over.
Yeah. And also being able to, everything's done with technology. Sometimes you don't even need to meet your client, or you might get a referral from somebody that is moving into the state. You might be doing a virtual, which we did during COVID, right? You might be doing a virtual walkthrough for them. So they might not even see the home until they're ready to close on it. A lot of investors do that. Everything can be done electronically. You can even close using a mobile notary if they're not here. However, you might run into that client who wants to be face-to-face and they want to hand write the documents, do a wet signature on things. That's okay too. But the technology that we're talking about is like, it blows almost every other technology away. I've been on many different systems myself, and I feel that what you guys all have with the Keller Williams technology is incredible, and it takes care of your business from start to finish, from your lead generation to dealing with the transaction, to your follow-up client afterwards, with all your smart plans. It's a pretty powerful system, and it can be a little overwhelming. So that's where doing the command classes and any of the other special classes or the online that you can do on your own, it's super important, because your database is your data bank. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Your database is your data bank. It's so important that you are getting your clients into your database and command. I'm going to ask a question. And I know, I'm not sure how far along you are in your Ignite classes. How many of you have at least 200 in your database and command right now? Okay, that's your first, that is your first challenge, if you will. And if you look at your phone and scroll down to the bottom or the top, depending upon the phone that you have, you look at your social media account. You don't have to be best friends with them to be in your command system. You want to get as many people into your command as you can, and you want to work smart, not hard. Our tech team, Jeremiah, is great at this up in Sunset Corridor through our leverage department. You want to upload your database into a CSV file, and then it can be imported, right? So again, work smart, not hard. Laura, you went ahead and unmuted, and I'm sorry to talk over you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, I was going to answer how many people I had. I know I have more, but it is like you said, sometimes like I'm like, do I even know this person like that? We just exchange numbers. So I used to work as a bartender too. So I have a lot of people's phone numbers, and then I'm like, it's just more of the inputting, and I need to work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
Stop nitpicking whether I should put that contact or not. I just should.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. You don't even ask a question. That is your job in real estate, is to grow your data bank. right? So it doesn't matter how you met them, how you know them, you get them in there because it's all about mind share, and it's the opportunity to be able to touch them. It is just like I always say, every morning I wake up and I have tons of emails from, Target, Kohl's, Torrid, what's the cookie place, Crumble Cookie, all the different places. And I delete. And then I'm like, I am going shopping this weekend. I do want that Kohl's coupon or that Kohl's ad or whatever. So it's like they're going to delete stuff until they want to take action. But if you're not the one continuing to send them information and engage with them, they're going to go somewhere else, right? So you want everybody to know that. And they have the option to unsubscribe if they want. And if you're putting out value, they're not going to unsubscribe. So yes, and I did just get your message, Lada. So thank you for your kind words. And if you do have to pop off, there will be a recording of this so you can follow up on it. And I hope that we can connect. I would love to hear your value proposition and what you're working on. And I appreciate your feedback and your collaboration during this class. So thank you. All right. So any other ahas about what matters most to your clients? And I know Shane and Tristan, I'm not sure if you're still not able to communicate. So just pop in the chat if I go too fast, okay? So with defining your value proposition, we're going to continue on. We've covered what it is and why we must have one to benefit our customers. We've also covered what buyers and sellers have expressed as most important to them. And these are going to be the guidelines for how you design your own value proposition. So what we're going to do is just that. We're going to have you take some time to design your personal value proposition. And I do want to see some information in the chat from you. So on page 10 of your guide, there are 3 steps to define your value proposition. The first one on page 10 is identify your knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. Oh, good. Thank you, Tristan. I appreciate it. Number 2 is to transform the value you provide and the value of Keller Williams and your market center into the benefit for your client. And number 3 is to actually build your value proposition statement. Okay. So again, page 10 is number 1, and we're going to go into further detail about each of these. So what we're looking at here first is identifying your knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. We talked about this at the beginning, and a few of you shared a couple of things. So I want you to take a moment and think about what's going to resonate. Put your client hat on. If you were the buyer, if you were the seller, what is going to be meaningful to your client? That you would connect with, what's in alignment with who you are and your true abilities, and of that, what fits your clients? What do you think they would find important? So we're going to break it down into number 1, knowledge. What knowledge do I bring to this job? Okay, perhaps you have a degree in accounting, law, finance, or maybe you've worked in construction, maybe you have good knowledge of home building, code, etc. Think about, what knowledge you bring. Look at your past career before real estate or schooling, and pull out things that we've talked about that might be something you want to include in your value proposition. What attitudes am I bringing to this job? Okay, perhaps you consider yourself caring, confident, committed, honest, loyal. What skills do I offer? Perhaps you're a tech whiz, or you're able to help others learn and use tech, or maybe you're a great negotiator or problem solver. Maybe you're all of those things. What beliefs do I offer? Okay, so this is where equity, integrity, things like that come into play. So what I want you to do is fill out the chart in the participant guide with your attributes. And Tristan, it looks like it's just you and I that are left. I don't know, Art, can you just give me in the chat, are you able to take a moment to do this activity right now? I know you're multitasking. Okay. If you're not, then what I would like you to do after the class is over and when you're able to, is to fill out that chart. And once you've completed it, I want you to circle all the attributes that align with what buyers and sellers value from the NAR information we talked about earlier, okay, to help you stand out. So kind of do a brain dump of all the things and then go back and reference the NAR and circle those key items, because those are going to be in alignment with what your buyers and sellers are looking for. All right, we're going to go over to page 11 and talk about step 2, which is transform the value you provide and the value of KW in your market center into benefits for your clients. So your value proposition statement expresses the value you provide in language that makes it relevant to your clients. So this is where, like I said, take off your agent hat and put on your buyer and seller hat so that you can resonate with them. Thank you, Tristan. I did just get your message. And so I'll look forward to either hearing that you can share with me, or you can share that with Erin, your coach, as to where you're at with that. But I would love to. It's important for me to know how you end up with your value proposition statements. And I'll share mine here in a minute too. So, think through all of the things we talked about: your knowledge, your attitude, your skills, your beliefs, and what can be beneficial to your clients, because many of your life experiences that are unique to you can be relevant to real estate. And if you don't see it, you want to look at it from another angle. So even if you haven't articulated it to yourself, you already have experience that you've used in your life to help others. And that's really what real estate is. It's relationships, and we're helping others reach their goals by buying, selling, and investing in real estate. Okay, so maybe you were a teacher or a Little League coach. You have experience helping others. How did your personal experience make you especially helpful? And how could you use that in the future? When you're considering how to make a real estate relevant in your past experiences, think about what buyers and sellers say is most important to them. Go back to that information and tie that in. So we want to link through the value you receive from Keller Williams and your market center and how that can be beneficial to your clients. Let's say that your market center averages 98.9% of listing price. So when you're meeting with a potential client, potential seller for a listing, you could share that statistic with them. However, it doesn't convey the full scope of value to your clients. So what you might want to say is, you get the best sales price for your home due to my thorough training in negotiation. So it's using high value statements like that, not just like, oh, I'm a great negotiator, right? It sounds better when you say you get the best sale price for your home due to my thorough training in negotiation. Okay. You can also think about the services you offer that are made faster, more convenient, and more accurate when you use Keller Williams technology, such as Command and the KW app. So I'm going to have you fill out the 2 charts again in your participant guide. The first chart is to the value you provide, and the second is the value they receive, okay, from Keller Williams and the Market Center. So a couple of different ones there. And then we're going to move on to page 12. And so I know that you're going to be working on that later, Tristan. So the third one is your value proposition. And this is the fun part. We're going to build your value proposition statement. So once you get all of that other done and you've circled the keywords and you have tied in what NAR says buyers and sellers are looking for and how that aligns with who you are and your experience, your knowledge, your skills, your beliefs, you're going to be able to look at those things and start thinking about a value proposition. Okay. So your value proposition is most likely going to change as you learn new skills and you gain more experience as an agent. So we talked about that at the very beginning of the class, because as I said, this is a rough draft. This is your starting point, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We want to move forward. Even if it's imperfect, it's better to get it out there and have something that we're sharing with our clients for our value. And as you grow as an agent, then you can tweak that, add more things, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you the value proposition that I had when I was running my team. And again, it grew. It was one thing because I was a solo agent. And as I grew my team, it grew a little bit different. So mine was the Spell Homes team is comprised of realtors who provide their clients with the highest level of integrity, professionalism, and expertise while guiding them through the process of achieving their real estate goals. Okay, that was mine. And one second here. Here we go. All right. So what I want you to do is take some time to build that value proposition for yourself. And looking at the information that we have gathered. And I know that we don't have anything to share here. So I'm looking forward to everybody that was on the class, or if you're watching this in a Zoom afterwards, the recorded class, take a look again at what NAR says, what your skills, knowledge, beliefs, and align those two. Okay. And then create a draft and tweak it. Do it again, share it with somebody, know what your value proposition statement is, be able to articulate that to someone. So I would say memorize it, but I would love if you guys want to email those to me. I'm at kwesleader@kw.com. And I would love to hear how this class has helped you in creating a very powerful value proposition for yourself, your career. And again, it's going to change and grow as you do. So thank you so much, you guys, for taking the time to spend with me today. Tristan, I appreciate you multitasking. Larda, thank you so much for your participation. And I wish you guys all the best, and we will connect again soon. So keep building your database, your data bank, and have a great week, guys. Thank you.